We still got a few minutes.
And you have the minutes obviously in front of you from last time.
Already read them, ready to vote on them?
You got me.
So our high school kiddos went to a new event today, or actually yesterday. Pi Day. Today's Pi Day. Oh my gosh, this morning seems like it was yesterday.
Doesn't it?
Jeff had on this crazy shirt about Pi Day, but it was actually at the meeting this morning. So 12 kids went to Southern for the mathematics puzzle program. You may remember a gentleman who's a dad in town who is a math professor. He's come out to a couple of our meetings. He teaches in Central.
Yes.
So he sent me an email about this event that they're having about a puzzle program. And so Kimmy and Julie took them, and she was saying that the scavenger hunt event was great and that the kids had a great time and they're looking forward to going back next year. So
That's good to hear.
She promised me pictures and details. So,
great.
It's fun.
I forgot today was Pi Day.
I know.
I always remember.
Yeah.
So 12 of our students went.
You see Cindy.
That's okay.
Always
So they're
everywhere.
just, they're mathematical puzzles, like, not on the table.
Right, right. And I guess they have to, from what I heard, they have to go around the campus and figure these out, and then like it was a kind of scavenger hunt, and you would solve something and then go to the next location from what I hear, but I'm going to get details.
It's a math competition, mathematics puzzle program. Good stuff.
I had a 20 minute this morning. So it was spring ahead this weekend, right? So I never changed my alarm clock until last night. At least I thought I did. So so alarm goes off at 7. I'm thinking it's 7 o'clock. I'm like, wow, it's really bright outside. So I had an 8 o'clock meeting. So I get to my office and everyone's already there. And I'm like, look at my watch. It was already 8 o'clock. I set it back another hour as opposed to saying.
How important
So
is
that
that?
The worst was that.
It wasn't that important, but the point was made. Yes. Yeah. It was wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, I know, right? Fall back again.
Yeah.
Good news, you were well rested.
I was surprisingly. I feel really good.
By the river where
It's really good.
the waterworks are.
Well, I went downstairs to go and flip the switch to unlock the doors. And usually I go and do that, and it's dark, and I did say, I was like, it's still light, so we're not.
But the funny thing, I had my watch on, didn't check it in my car, radio the clock, I never noticed. So I'm driving.
Not as much traffic.
Yeah, I'm like, that's good for that.
Last week that it was already daylight savings time and I was late and I wasn't like,
So you guys got through your presentation last week?
We did, yeah.
Nicely.
So we condensed it a little for you today, so you don't have to be here till breakfast.
Breakfast.
Well, now that we're
familiar with the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. You already received some elementary information last month, so you're ahead of schedule.
That's right. So I have
Oh, there you go.
Is Mr. Broncasio the professor from Southern Miss now?
No.
It wasn't? Oh,
He's an elementary parent.
Oh, okay, because,
Little kid.
oh, because one of my
Braxton
brothers at high
is his
school,
first name.
dad
Is
is a
professor,
professor
yeah.
also in the math department at Southern.
This is Braxton Kerrigan.
Oh, okay, no?
Him and Jen and him coach teaching in soccer.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really?
Oh, that's
He's a
nice.
really nice guy.
Associate
That's our
professor of
girl,
mathematics.
We've got forever.
Yeah.
Neither kid played soccer all like up until this year. And John Johnson didn't want to do tackle football, just flag football in Cheshire. He's older. He's too old.
His age,
And he's got the size of his dad, so it wasn't going to work. So we tried to.
There we go. I feel like I'm waiting for that Southwest.
It's phenomenal.
All
For
right.
better or for worse, I warned everyone.
Should I say the last?
All right. Call to order this meeting of the curriculum committee. Can I have roll?
Yes, Tony Perugini,
Here.
Ann Harrigan,
Present.
Ms. Chairwoman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Do the say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any public comment? Okay. Our first item on the agenda, or second item on the agenda, is just a review and approval of the meeting minutes from February 14th. You all have had a chance to review them. I'm going to, first of all, ask for a motion to approve. So,
Second.
okay, do we have any discussion with them? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
So we are going to move on to get a further review, since this is not exactly a continuation from what we did last month, but just looking at and hearing the executive summary of the health and the report from the Health and PE Curriculum Council.
It's part of the 5-year curriculum council review. When we have those in front of the curriculum committee of the district, then we bring those to you in the form of the executive summary. So Kathy Sullivan, chair of the department.
Okay, Kathy Sullivan, and Pam and I and John will help out in what we forget. We'll give you an overview. The presentation was long. I've tried to condense it so that we can cover everything pretty quickly and kind of give you the highlights of what our department does, K through 12. So I'm pretty good at this piece. Yeah, you want to do that piece? Oh, there we go. I found your job. So in front of you is our mission statement. It follows from the state and national standards, and it basically tells you that we feel we are an integral part of the education for all of our students. And it also gives you the information where complex thinking and social emotional learning is all mixed in. It tells you that we have a sequential program, a planned program that works on teamwork, cooperation, self-esteem, awareness. It also is hoping our students will become lifetime learners in both physical fitness as well as physical activity and health. So it kind of covers a very broad range of which we feel we do cover to the best of our ability. We also talk about how it, good, look at that. Were you there last week? We talk about how we do hit many of the 21st century essential skills for success and critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration. We have a lot of pictures that you'll see in the mix. Obviously, we are a performance-based activity and subject area, and the 3 that you see up there definitely relate to the critical thinking, problem solving. Students in line dancing have to invent their own dances. I spoke to that last week, where they're giving all the basic skills and then they have to invent their own dances. Students on the right are helping somebody who's up 60 feet in the air be able to manipulate through a series of little discs across the 60 foot in the air and probably about 30 feet. And they're helping him by managing pulleys and orienteering up and right. So many critical thinking skills there as well. Elementary physical education, we have 6 major units. They range from K to 6, age appropriate. They progress through the years. It's not like as you progress to middle school and high school, you have your set units of baseball, softball, basketball. Here it's more learning the skills, learning the basics of it, learning how to catch, learning how to throw, learning how to strike an object. So it's a little varied in that they're not getting into gameplay, they're just doing mini type games, using those different skills. We also do dance, rhythm, gymnastics, same thing, it progresses as the years go on. Connecticut Physical Fitness Test is a big part because it's part of our school profile. So that's probably one of the key things we've been working on the last couple of years. We don't seem to have as much PE as we have in the past, so we need to find other ways to get the kids active all the time. And you'll see some of those later on. But we do work on the physical fitness. They warm up in the morning before class, working on some of the skills so that they can perfect them as we go along. Elementary, they have class once every 4 days. We go to the middle school and the high school. No, you're good. Middle school and high school, where Dodd has class every other day, which is fabulous. It's probably one of the biggest things. They have health and PE every other day. Definitely an age group that benefits from that, and we feel it at least helps us as they get to the high school. They have a little more skill-based so that they are able to do a lot of the activities. Their physical fitness scores are typically the highest that we have because they are needing a lot more. High school is once every 6 days, not ideal, but based on the numbers we have, that's what we're working with. Activities are the same, but they progress. We do dance, which I alluded to with the line dancing. Lifetime leisure activities, do anything from golf to disc golf to archery to orienteering. So we try to get some different type of activities in there. They get on the ropes course and the challenge course. At Dodd, they do more small level teamwork, cooperative games. When they get to the high school, they get on a course outside that goes anywhere from ground level to what I said, 60 feet in the air. They have the opportunity to challenge by choice, try those out. It's not something they're required to do, but I will say about 90 to 93% of our students challenge themselves and do it. I'm probably the one that's most afraid of everything. I've done it so that I know what they're going through, and I'm able to convince them.
I'm game.
We've done it with the, we've done it with the teachers. We've done it with board, yeah. So it is neat, and a lot of the teachers ask to do it again. We've done low elements, and we've done the climbing wall, and we haven't done the real high ones, I don't think, with the teachers yet. Did we do it 1 year? Yeah. Okay, so we have tried it. It is neat, and we did it in a year so that to build up morale, I think, more than anything, and we intermixed all the departments, so they weren't with just their people they used to, and so that we all got to know everyone through the school, and it was really a neat experience, so definitely worth doing. Fitness center at Dodd, which is old 2 classrooms. We like to try to work something in, and I'll talk to that as well later at the high school, because it is a nice facility. The students can use it, the staff can use it. It has anything from free weights to ellipticals, stationary bikes. So it has been a very good facility, and maybe we can work something at the high school so that the kids can continue to use that, and staff at the high school benefit as well. And then we have team and individual sports, which is your normal soccer, flag football, softball, basketball, the big ends. One thing we kind of pride ourselves on is we do our best to make every student succeed. And it's funny, when we were talking about trying to condense it and put it all together, I didn't realize we offered quite so much for every kid. But we try to catch the students that may not be physical education enthusiasts, as well as those that have all sorts of anxieties about being in a group or having to deal with something they don't know. So you see a very large number up there. We have a PE prep class at the elementary, which is more a teacher with a very small number, anywhere from 3 to 8 students, helps guide them so that they learn the skills that they're supposed to be working on in class. So when they get to class, they feel much better about working with other people. And they also get teamed up with someone else in the class that can help them along the way. We have adaptive at Dodd. We have it, it's called Unified now at Cheshire High School, and that is for students that are 504 PPT, special ed students, so that they get a physical education program. A number of them also come to the regular ed class as well, so they're getting a little extra, something that they really need. We have a unified sports, both at Dodd and at Cheshire High School, and we have students that can help out with that, so it gives them a little extra initiative and get involved with other kids in the school system. We have a wellness physical education. Those are students that are 504 into it or recommended by the nurse, PE guidance, the counselors. And it's typically anyone that, it could be someone that's injured that can't participate in a regular class and they come to this class. Or it could be someone that has high anxiety and can't deal with a class of 26. And so they're in a class of 8 or less. Some are very small, there's only 2, some are a little larger. But it's a great kind of unifying for these kids. They find someone else that they can hang with, they get make friends, that's probably the best thing of anything, but they also learn to appreciate the physical education aspect that they don't appreciate when they're in a bigger class. And we have leadership opportunities at all levels. Elementary, 6th graders will come in and help with PE classes with the younger students. At the middle school and high school, they can help with the unified or help with other classes in different aspects. So that's kind of a quick overview of PE. I'm going to let Pam kind of take over and give you one of health.
So the content areas for health education are taught from from kindergarten all the way through grade 12, but the topics underneath each of the content areas varies, and the depth at which the topics are discussed again is varied according to what's age appropriate for each of the different grade levels. Alcohol, nicotine and other drugs, healthy relationships, optimal wellness and disease prevention, violence prevention, sexual health, mental and emotional health, healthy eating, physical activity, safety, and injury prevention. For kindergarten through elementary, and actually right through grade 6, there is a health teacher who teaches, Matt, who teaches 6 lessons with each grade level. And then the other, the classroom teacher, the physical education teachers in the building, the counselors, and assemblies that are held help to cover the whole of all the topics that need to be covered at the elementary level. And each of the grade levels, they should be having at least one health lesson a week. So it's either covered by Mr. Guida when he's going in, or it's by the regular classroom teacher, or the PE or the counselor, and then set out throughout the year. There's a schedule set up, and the different lessons and the topics that are covered are given to, like this classroom teacher, they're given the lesson that they are supposed to teach and all of the materials that they need to be able to do that lesson. And that goes on, like I said, from kindergarten through 6th grade. At Dodd, health education is taught by one of 3 health or PE teachers, myself, which I teach 8th grade health, and also 7th and 8th grade physical education. Michelle Vieira, who teaches 7th grade health and 7th and 8th grade physical education, and Anthony Wacchio, who teaches both 7th and 8th grade health and 7th and 8th grade physical education. And a 7th grade curriculum is covered every other day for half of the year. And 8th grade health curriculum is covered once every 4 days for the entire year. So they're same number of lessons, just spread out throughout the year rather than just being from one half and then to a second semester for the second group of kids who haven't had it yet. Again, the topics that are covered for each of the grade levels is dependent upon what is age appropriate, and of course approved by the Board of Ed for our curriculums. At the elementary level, that's all right. That's okay. I mean, I just realized I didn't really talk about the topics, sure. But you can see that Alcohol and substance abuse is covered in all of the different grade levels. Diabetes, asthma, healthy relationships, emotional awareness, vaping, immune and respiratory system. They use MyPlay put out by the Gov to be able to teach nutrition. HIV and AIDS is covered at all of the grade levels. For example, the difference would be in kindergarten, you would teach children that blood is germy, so that you shouldn't touch anyone else's blood but your own. That's an HIV lesson for a kindergartner. So even though it doesn't have that label, that is actually the content area that you're covering. So we talk about self-esteem and peer pressure and decision-making at all of the different grade levels. When you go on to secondary and we look at, again, the topics are the same, covered between 7th through 12th grade, but the level at which we teach them at is age appropriate. So again, we cover nutrition, personal health behaviors, goal setting, decision making, disease prevention, bullying, effects of tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs on your health and well-being, benefits of living a drug-free lifestyle, stress management, eating disorders, depression, suicide prevention, healthy relationships, abstinence, contraceptives are only covered at the high school level, harassment of all varieties, adolescent brain development, STIs and HIV. Again, at 7th and 8th grade level, it's just an introduction to these are specific type of diseases that you can contract through sexual contact or basically infected mucous membranes, but at the high school level, it is covered in more depth. Chronic and communicable disease risk factors, binge drinking, alcohol poisoning, tobacco and vaping, caffeine, energy drinks, prescription drug abuse, including opioids, dangers of marijuana and all the laws surrounding that, other drugs and addiction. And so at the secondary level, at the high school, the health and PE teachers each teach a portion of the health curriculum. There is freshman health, which is in the second semester, and that's once every 6 days? Once every 6 days. And in junior year, they take first semester, they have junior health, and again, which is once every 6 days. Some of the drug topics need to be taught, like substance abuse has to be covered each year, so there are other classes which are taught which cover that part of the curriculum, and there are other classes that students can elect to take to be able to cover some of the, as I say here, okay, yeah, there's peer health educators course, which is covered. Is this culinary technical department? Okay. I
So
wasn't sure about the abbreviation. Yeah.
So the health electives, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So they're senior year, some junior, senior year, they have an elective health. So the health is covered freshman and junior year through us, and then their junior or senior, depending on their schedules, they will take an elective class. And that meets 3 out of every 6 days. And one is peer health, which comes through our department. Dan Lee runs that. And then the career technology department does 5 classes, and they're listed behind us. And they are actually taught, the teacher that teaches them is a health certified teacher, so that works out really well. And then we've always had 4 classes taught from social studies. They cover the topics that have to be covered as mandated by the state. Intro and AP Psych, Global Citizenship, and Sociology. Unfortunately this year, with the new Healthy Balance Framework, and I think it's always been part of it, but it was never clearly stated that it has to still be taught by a health certified teacher. And so we need to work something out in the future, how we're going to work that, because they're great classes for the kids to have. They've serviced them well in terms of health because they do cover the drugs, the alcohol, the HIV. They work it into their classes. We're just missing that health certified piece, so we're going to have to figure out how to either get teachers cross-endorsed or work it out so that we can still offer that through there. But it's one way they get the health classes. And then, just go back real quick, yeah. Ninth and 11th grade also has a couple of added pieces that they're not mandatory required. Actually, one of them is, but they're things that we thought were important. So we've always added Red Cross certification that has been mandated in the last couple of years. So we do offer CPR, AED, and first aid to all of our students. Liver Foundation comes in and talks about liver health. Safe Haven comes in and talks about sexual abuse, sexual health and relationships, which is another required piece. We do a skin cancer, and then our school resource officers come in and talk about anything happening in Cheshire and talk to them about parties and their involvement in the law and everything else, so it works out well. The Substance Abuse Council comes in. Career Center, we do a piece with the Career Center working on getting ready for college or what their future wants to be, whether it's military, the job force, or college. And then every 3 years, we have town doctors come in and talk to them about testicular and breast cancer. So sophomores, juniors, and seniors get it one of those 3 years, so they get the experience. And then another piece that we kind of combined, because we didn't have it combined, was community outreach. And once again, we didn't realize how many different things we do to help out in the community through our department, whether it be kindergarten or middle school or high school. We do a number of health-related activities as fundraisers for different areas, Kids Marathon, Kids Heart, Challenge Hoops for Heart, Apex fundraiser. The Y Cup relay is one to help with the physical fitness test. They do a mile relay on the Chapman area now. Actually, I think it's May 7th this year. They wanted to do one in the spring because we couldn't do it in the fall with COVID. So they're going to do one in the spring and one in the fall. So hopefully they'll get interest going again. We have 2 elective groups, didn't mention them, that participate in the advisory program at Cheshire High School and run some of those. We also have those, they help with some of the classes. We joined the Connecticut National Guard and YMCA for a couple of leadership programs. Heart Safe Community, it was through our electives that we got Cheshire designated as a Heart Safe Community, which means you offer CPR first aid to a certain number of people in the town. They're certified. You can see the signs around the entrances when you drive into town. We presented at SCC Leadership and CIAC Unified Sports conferences. Through Peer Health, we've done 4th, 8th, 9th, and 11th grade health-related lessons, special needs, and unified sports. Involved in leadership conferences, food drives, and we ran a district-wide health and wellness fair prior to COVID. Hopefully that will start up again. So there are many things that our kids get involved with, whether they're in an elective course or just on their own. Actually, on Thursday this week, we run a school-wide volleyball tournament. It'll be the first time in 3 years that we've run it, and our kids are so excited about getting involved. They referee the games, they set up the tournament with us, and they participate. And it's an all-school Unit 5 event, which is just really nice to get involved in. This just tells you a little about requirements for physical education. There's suggested timelines through the state. K through 3, 60 minutes a week, 4 to 5, 80, 6 to 8, 3 class periods a week, and 9 through 12, 1 credit, which is 120 hours over 4 years. Health, we already said, required that we teach alcohol, nicotine, tobacco, sexual abuse, assault, and HIV every year. They recommend 40 hours K to 2, 80 hours 3 to 12. The next sheet will kind of give you an idea. So basically, we do about 36 hours. They're saying 40 to 53 a year. As it goes down, we have 60 hours. So middle school seems to be the closest to providing what the state recommends and the national guidelines are. 9th grade, we're low, but 10th grade, we're a little above. 11th, we're low. 12th grade, we're a little above. We get about 114 hours over 4 years 120, so we could take, we have a snow day and make up a class on a certain day, they may get the time on that one, depending. We did a little comparison with our DERG and with area schools, so you got 2 DERG schools, West Hartford and Simsbury. We're pretty similar in the elementary, 36, 53, 38. You can see on the left is Cheshire, West Hartford and Simsbury on the right. We're about the same in 7th and 8th. 50 hours PE, they have 50 hours of health, so they've got a lot more on that end. Simsbury definitely has more, 5.6 teachers too, makes a difference at that level. Does it go up? It doesn't, this is the end of that. I think Simsbury, I think does 2 credits of PE. I didn't use that one. So that's where the difference is. We give our students 1.5 credits. They really earn 1 credit. It's because of how the credit hours work. It doesn't work out like that. So we have 19 hours comparison to 60 and 86. So we're a little low at the high school, which we always say we are. If you go to look at area schools, yep. We're dead on with Southington, a little under Wallingford in terms of the elementary. Middle school is just about the same, 60 plus, 63, 62. High school, we're low in comparison. And it's just because we don't have enough teachers.
Is that also the schedule too, how much time you can block in? We have enough teachers.
I don't know, because we meet and then they end up with 2 free periods. So one of them typically becomes a lab for bio or chemistry, and then one becomes a study hall. I'm not sure you could or you couldn't. We'd have to sit and play with it and figure it out if you could add more.
And the other schools, are they offering it all through the year, or do they do
It varies.
semesters?
So
And
summer
that's
semesters.
That's where the hours change.
So Wallingford is health half a year, PE half a year, and all. Southington is all year, except for sophomore year, it's half and half. So it depends on which it is, which school it is at. So
Shift the rotations.
Yeah.
Those conversations.
So it's tough. It's, do you want to give up for half a year or not? But I prefer year round, just because we're telling our kids that it's not important, you only need it half a year, so it's a tough battle.
I'm with you on the 40
Yeah.
right now, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I think they needed full years, so I think what happened is that health took away PE, and that's where we ended up losing PE time, and they need the help too, so it's a two-ended sword there. It's hard to figure out which way to go. So basically in the whole deal, we finish up with strengths and weaknesses of the program. Strengths is we feel our curriculum's good. We do a variety of activities, so the kids can always find something that they're interested in or they love, and they deal with the ones they don't. We hosted a wellness fair, which went over really well the 2 years we were able to do it. Through COVID, we developed what was called a Wellness Wednesday program, which concentrated on their health and emotional, physical. It was a Wednesday program when we were remote, when we had COVID, and now it became the intro to health every day, so we call it weekly wellness now, and we do about a 10-minute piece on some type of extra help to work on them, whether it be dealing with their health, or what can they do to help others, or anything that will focus on something different for them. And we have a lot of leadership opportunities, which I stressed before. What needs attention, our curriculum needs to be completed. We would love to have some type of wellness facility at Cheshire High School to play off of DODS. Increase contact time K through 12. Update equipment. Probably more gymnastics. Missed that spelling. Increased budget at the elementary. Provided additional outdoor teaching area. God, it looked good on this paper. We talked about a blacktop area. I think it's town blacktop area that used to be tennis courts. It's become dilapidated, now has a tree across it or something.
Yeah,
So we're gonna talk with the town, I think.
we used to have a blacktop actually at Dyke, I remember being there in the bottom there, right, with old basketball hoops, and then the insurance company came in and said, this is really dangerous, so we need to remove this. I wish they just took out the hoops and then left the blacktop. So we used the courts that were on the lower neighborhood right behind us, which have been great. We played tennis and we could play pickleball down there. We just use it like a blacktop, but it's in disrepair
Seen its better
now.
days.
It's, they took all of the nets and tennis rigging out. There's like some frost heaves throughout it, but now there's like trees that have fallen down with the storms through the fencing. It is just, it's really unusable now. And it's such a very important space to us at Dodd because we have 3 classes that meet at one time. We really only have 2 fields. So we use that other space down there as a place usually to try and have the kids. We sometimes have one class that's inside using all of the gym and then 2 are out. But even like when the weather just starts to get nice enough for us to go out, having that lower piece down on the lower tennis court area is just wonderful. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that maybe the town will update.
We didn't realize it was town property, so we need to talk with
I
Park
would
and
say
Rec with the
that
town.
Yeah, they've been focused on updating.
Well, that's it, they're slowly
So,
doing it.
I'm hoping that's the
surprising that-
last one that
Yeah.
needs to be repaired.
Yeah, I hope it's on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there something we could or should be doing to help
Well-
the situation? Because
Well, that's it, we figure we'll talk with
Yeah.
them and
Yeah.
just see if it's on the list to begin with, and if it's not, maybe we can do some persuading and, because it definitely,
And one of the things that we've seen that's taken off like wildfire in town has been the pickleball ever since they did the Cheshire Park courts. And pickleball's been something that's been in the PE curriculum for a while now.
Before it was the rage.
Yeah,
Before it was the
yes.
rage.
we created the
They
rage.
did.
There we go.
Let's take the credit.
I'm thinking the kids that we
What is
taught
Yeah.
25 years ago, the ones that convinced this to happen.
I don't know, it's a little bit older community, it's really taken everybody. But, so that might be a possible solution, because I know it's pretty hard to get on the courts at Cheshire Park, because, you know, if they can
Even if they do blacktop and we can carry our own goals.
Kathy, can you highlight some of the things that we talked about in the summertime that were new purchases for the community department at the various levels? I know we helped, bring some of the cost of the telephone pole and things that were needed.
So at the high school, unfortunately, in some of the storms last year before, in June, we have the high hopes course out in the back, and 2 of the trees came down that took down what is considered a telephone pole up in about 35 feet up in the air. And you're supposed to walk across, so you climb the tree and walk across. So yes, we had to secure a telephone pole, and you don't realize how expensive a telephone pole, and even more so now. So that was one, so we were able to rebuild out there and put up another element, which was really good. That was the very first picture you saw. That was pretty cool. So at the high school, we were able to obtain that. We also have bicycles. They have not come in yet because bicycles are a very high commodity right now still. I mean, it was all last summer as well. But we got those through town, so they should be in. He was hoping by April 1st, and hoping that is true. Otherwise, he said he'd give us a different bike, but this was the sturdier one that will last longer. So high school did well. At Dodd, they got portable volleyball, pickleball,
Yes. Which
nets,
have
which
been awesome.
Yeah.
We've used them so many times in so many different ways, and we're able to play new games with the classes because we have them, so, which is great. We're so
So that was a good one. Norton School got brand new basketball backboards. The backboards that were there when Norton was first built. And we thought they were looking sturdy, okay, and when the gentleman went to take them, replace them, he said it was a good thing we were replacing them. They were literally falling apart in pieces. They got really nice ones, and it's used by the town as well, so that's really good.
So these are purchased through the budget or
Through-
They were purchased
grant.
through the budget.
Okay.
And then, I think Hadley just got a ball bag and a ball cart, which they needed. And the original budget just it's small at the elementary school, so it's nice that this opportunity arose. Dr. Doolittle got 3 pieces of gymnastics equipment, which also hadn't been replaced in over 40 years.
Did somebody get gym mats?
Yes, Chapman School got gym mats.
And Don, we did also, our mats had gotten damaged with mold, with a leaking ceiling and something else that happened, and so we got,
Replaced with you.
yeah, so that's nice, we had some nice lighter ones that are easy to remove, and, yes.
And Chapman got a big, it wasn't a typical small mat, it was a crash mat for gymnastics. So they did very well. So it was nice, it definitely supplemented small budgets, so that they continue to dream big. Yes, so it was very nice. And I think the last 2, you can go, that we just said was terms, and then the last one is just, this is a fitness room at Dodd, and we'd like to try to do something on that idea. Was it 2 classrooms, I think?
Yeah, so this was when I was a student, it was called the wrestling room. It had just all mats on the ground, and that's where we would go in there for. But it had older equipment in it, and it was kind of functioned more as a weight room, not really appropriate at the middle school level. So over the years, we actually were really fortunate. Fitness Zone in town donated some of the purple and white equipment to us, with just us kind of writing them a thank you letter. And the nice thing about those pieces of equipment is it's made to fit a middle school age student. And then it's been kind of a slow growing process of in the budget or through a PTA grant or
Cheshire Ed Foundation.
yeah, the Cheshire Education Foundation, thank you very much. Just getting a little piece and building it over time. And I think this is what Kathy is envisioning or hoping for, maybe something similar for the high school that doesn't, it doesn't speak like football powerlifting. It's
Right.
more for the everyday student who wants to concentrate on their health and wellness, and also something that after school hours, our staff has benefited from it after school. And like we have some teachers that are spin instructors, and we'll bring some staff members in. And I don't know, I know the medical benefits is always a thing, and maybe on that end, it might help us in the wellness end.
Well, a number of years ago, we talked to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they had said they would provide us with bikes, but we needed a facility, and at that point there was nothing. And now we started thinking, oh, the classroom enrollment's going down, we might have a
Well,
room.
in Cheshire High School, they might have some more space.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna go down and then come back
And then
again.
come back.
We'll deal with that later.
Yeah,
But,
we'll cross one bridge at a time.
That's right.
I think they're also always talking about doing something with the football and doing something down by the track. So if they did that, the football locker room might open up, and that would be a great area to host something like this. So you never know, something may come of it. We'll keep looking. I'll be working on Mary.
Not me too hard.
Yeah.
No, it was nice, it was carpet, and they put in this great sponge,
Yeah.
that floor, and the rubber, it's wonderful.
Rubberized,
Yeah, and we have medicine balls and kettlebells, and you can see there's the ellipticals out behind the stationary bicycles. We also have free weights. You can see the remnants of some tape, gym tape that we put down. We played when we were in deep COVID. We played Foursquare in there when we had to, and we lost part of the gym. Half of it was a calf for lunch, so it really, became all sorts of games were being played in there. So we used a classroom also.
I think it's important in that thing you just mentioned, Pam, that when it's raining out and the gym is used for other things, they get displaced. So just something to think about as we go into the ed spec reports and start looking at the use of spaces, that when there's a book fair or when there's presentations and people need to use those common spaces like the gym, that very
Blood
often
drives.
the department has to shift. And it's all well and good if there's something outdoors that can be done, but when it's not, where do you go? So it's just something that has been on my mind recently as we've been looking and talking about new schools.
I think a big takeaway, and it's a credit to Kathy and Kathy's leadership, and I know I'm biased, but I think she's the best. She also hired me, so
I paid them off tonight too.
But you're not hearing that stereotypical of what you might think a physical education class is or what we see in the movies. It's current, they're within the current trends, and they're focusing on lifelong physical fitness for kids. And I know we'll always want more of the time, but I think the exposure and the activities that kids are exposed to, and hopefully a kid finds their niche and finds what is that I can be passionate about, to be able to live, a healthy and active lifestyle. And the same thing in health, it's a comprehensive program that dives into a lot and focuses on responsible decision making and really in knowledge, right? Empowering kids to make responsible decision making with great knowledge. And so, like I said, I think it probably rivals anybody in the state in terms of curriculum wise. And of course, we always can improve and we always want to make better, and that's what we pride ourselves on. But I think the PE and health curriculum is pretty strong.
And it's evolved a lot, especially the health, wellness parts. It's my daughter's started getting the last 18 years.
Goes back to the house.
No, but it does go back.
Yes.
But just look at the list of a while back, and just all the topics being covered, it just grows. Some topics are happy topics, and some are just. Cyberbullying did not exist 10 years ago.
Right. Digital citizenship.
Yeah,
something
it's
else mandated.
So I like the fact it's very encompassing all around it. We're reinforcing these concepts throughout their journey here. I wish we did more.
Well, I was also thrilled to hear that the middle school level is where they're not cutting back on.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah,
It's
it
really,
is actually,
yeah,
that's
they-
awesome.
they
Data will
so
show
need
that
it.
that's the age group when kids stop playing. So I think
Yeah.
it's, it's really important that that's continues.
So, sitting in on your meeting last week, there are a couple things. I just want to, you guys write your own curriculum or you get outside curriculum?
it's a little of both. It's a combination, yeah.
Okay.
In both, there was always a state PE and state health that we could talk to. Bonnie Edmondson with state health, and she would help us with anything that we needed additional information. And then we do borrow from others and research what other people use and do the best we can, following off the framework that we have to work by.
Okay, and then Humiston's PE is the same as?
Humiston follows off of the high school.
Okay.
Joe Kretz teaches up there. His health is the exact same as ours. He teaches health with us at the high school, and so he follows the same one. The PE is a little different because his classes are very small. So he actually has ping pong table, he has a pool table, he has free weights, he has some of the machines. So he has a little more individualized, probably a little more fitness orientated and individual sports.
And the facility, is that where his office is too?
Yeah.
I remember last year walking through.
His desk is right in the middle of it.
Yes.
He makes do, so
They're oftentimes outside on the laptop.
yeah, he does.
I see him out there.
Yeah.
The weather's nice, that's good.
So he enjoys working with them, and
Yeah,
they
I
seem
remember.
to.
So he's kind of all over. So the health certification requirement, that means that the teachers just need to get that certification, or they are so far off the mark, you gotta find another teacher?
That's
It's
what
not
we're
off
not
the
sure.
mark. It's not that it's off the mark. So for decades, within the advanced placement psychology and sociology, those courses cover health topics.
Yeah.
It is recent that they're saying now we want the teachers of those courses to be actually health certified. So it's the same content, it's just the requirement of a different certification.
So I think the
Why
requirement.
something very cynical?
Well, the requirement was always there, but the way it was written, it says it had to be taught by health and physical education teachers. But when they finish it, just said certified teacher. So it was a certified teacher, and we made sure they covered the topics that were required, because certain ones had to be taught every year. And they do, and the kids get all the information, it's just it's not a certified health teacher. Now, there is a cross endorsement for health, and But typically a science teacher could get it very quickly because it covers a lot of those classes. So I don't know, we would have to look into it. It would be wonderful if that's all it is, take 3 classes, it's like a drug class and a counseling class. And it would be wonderful if that's all it is, but I don't know, because I don't know, because the education course is already there.
It's a certification now because state wants to see consistency.
I think it was just they finally clarified it in, literally last Monday, the new health and balance framework for PE and health came out, and I think they clarified what was probably not written well before, and they clarified it. And so the state has come down because people asked, because we're not alone. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna
Across
guess.
the state,
Yes.
across the state.
Yeah, because someone came and said, well, will AP Psych count? And they're like, not unless that teacher's a certified health teacher.
But it's,
And no one ever asked the question before because it just said certified teacher. So now it's
the
out.
topics are the
Yeah.
topics are the topics of
Yeah.
these courses.
And I assume behind that mandate is no additional funding that helps.
No.
I just wanted to
Well,
never know.
thank you for saying the M word, because that's where I was gonna go with this. And then, just sitting in that class, or listening to you last week, it just hit me that if COVID proved anything, it's that we are not the healthiest population in the world,
So
and that
get it.
our nutrition is not all that great, and if we can, there's nothing better for, like, being just, basically down in the dumps and getting out and taking a 30-minute walk.
Mhm.
And it seems like we are just being piled on with, like, how do we fix this? Because when you say integral, it is integral. And we probably never appreciated it as much
Until COVID, yes.
until now.
And 5 classes, 5, there are 3 that need to cross endorsement, 5 classes that are offered to students to offer nutrition and health. They are taught by a person who's dual certified. So we're
Which is nice.
which is great.
Yeah.
So we just have to figure this out, and, we figured out in the past to make sure that it was covered, so we'll figure it out.
I know, but we gotta be there when you come.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
that's why I knew you were gonna be here anyway, but after I was leaving, I was just, maybe it was just too much coffee that morning, but I was just following it. But I think it just, for the health of these kids, we missed something, I think, with, the 20s and 30s, and even, well, now mine, the old folks. But it just really hit me listening to you guys, how vital this is for
I think
the future of these kids.
you're describing also probably a national issue.
Yeah.
Obviously not just a Cheshire.
No, it's
issue,
not
and I would
Cheshire
say
specific, but.
that in terms of communities and the activity level of our kids, and I think Kathy could tell you the number of kids that are involved in extracurricular sport, and I know Steve Tufon has talked about it too. So we do have a large number of kids that are active, and I do think, and a lot of it is knowledge, and I do think that the curriculum does provide kids with knowledge, right? There's a difference between knowing how to eat well and actually eating well, and I
Right.
think that the kids are being provided with the knowledge to be able to do those things, and that's the hope, right, is that we're consistent with that message, and you see the progression from K all the way through 12, that hopefully we're sending our kids off to college and off into their adult lives with the knowledge and skills to be able to do that.
I tell all my students that I think that my 8th grade health class is the most important class that they take. And they look at me and I say, not that all the other math and reading and science, I love science, I said, isn't important too, it is, but without your health, you're not going to be able to do all those things you love. And it's going to be the first thing that's going to take away from you. So you can't put that aside and ignore it. And this is all about you, so you shouldn't be bored. And so I try to instill that with them because I don't think they don't really realize that. They don't.
They're invincible.
Exactly.
Well,
We talk
absolutely,
about
yeah.
that too, but right, and they don't quite. And I'm hoping they'll just start to seep in to realize how valuable their health is and to not take it for granted. It is a message we really need to get to the students, and so that they know.
But it's nice when they hear it, not just from us, they hear it in social studies, they hear it in science, because it is offered as those electives. So
Yeah.
they're hearing it from us, and they know they expect to hear it from us, but when they hear it from their social studies teacher, their science teacher, it's like, oh,
Their
maybe
healthy
they're right.
balance teacher.
Yeah,
Or
that's it.
Whoever
Scattered
it is.
around,
school
yeah.
counselors through their program, or.
Seeing our other teachers exercising, when we do the mile run, the 8th grade teachers who come down with us.
Oh,
they
they
let
run,
them run and do laps and walk, and it's great. They run in the,
Mix.
race, not the race, it's so track oriented, but they're running into the times for the kids. And it's great to see them that these people spanning many ages are out there, besides just me, but like doing that, so.
Anyone else, yes?
No.
Very comprehensive. Thank you.
Thank you for having us present.
Thanks for
Okay, all right, so old business, we're just gonna, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to review.
And you're welcome to stay.
Yeah, you can
But
stay.
you don't have to come, we talk about policy, so no one will be attending.
I think you should go.
Yeah. We will leave, we won't interfere with policy. Thank you very
Go
much.
have some dinner.
That's what I'm here
A healthy
to do.
dinner.
Yes.
I know, I have eaten.
You can't stop at McDonald's on my way home?
Get the filet of fish
Yeah, okay, there we go.
with extra lettuce. So I don't know, have you guys had a chance to review? This is the, we're talking about the,
We saw it before, right? This is the
yeah,
material that-
yeah, but I didn't know if you had a chance to go back
So
in.
this is the request for consideration of instructional materials. So there's a lot of information that I think I shared some last week with Berlin Public Schools and Portland Public Schools, and we have some recommendations from CAVE. And after looking at our policies and looking at what we want to do, I think from what I'm understanding from the group is we would like to see that request for reconsideration of instructional materials put into the 600 series under instruction rather than community relations, which is something that other districts have done, and a little bit just updating the language in that citizen's request, because the language in our citizen's request is it's just a little dated, and it might be good to just update it if we're looking at that policy.
So I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
What do you want to do, our professionals, with this?
I think that it's really important that when a parent has a question about a textbook, or let's just say a library book, because we all have experience with that the most important thing for them to do is to talk to the classroom teacher. And thinking of, to use a high school example, because I've talked with some of the English teachers up at the high school, and they said, we've always been able to work it out. We talk about what's in the book, we talk about what we're trying to teach and in that book, and if the parent feels uncomfortable, we give them another option. He said most of the time the parent doesn't take the other option. They have the kid read it, and they take a copy home and read it along with them.
I think I knew the answer, but what I'm asking is, how much of this is a policy versus just educating the public or early in place?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both.
And how easy to find that path?
Yeah, I don't think it's easy to find that path.
No, it's not.
I think what Jeff shared with you all on Friday, that sort of chain of command of who do I go to for this, who do I go to for that, I think us publicizing that on the website will really help a lot. And I think that I do think that because it's already in our policy, if we just moved it where it needs to be, I had a hard time finding it. Right? I couldn't find it. I knew we had it somewhere because I looked over the summer, but it wasn't where I would have expected. And I know the policies. So I think moving it would be good. And I think the piece in the policy that says talk to the classroom teacher first and it articulates it, or not in a place you talk to the department chair. And again, not to cause like layers, but because when you talk to the person close to the problem, that's usually where you can get it resolved. And so I think that with that guidance, and then for someone who really, I've talked to others in other districts, and they said they typically don't get these. And most districts have something similar. They said it's usually resolved before it gets to someone writing this up.
And then the flip side, the other side of that is, you know, consistency in the procedure, right? From staff, school to school, but that's not a policy, that's something that's,
It's practice.
well, it's, there, yeah, there's a guideline somewhere, so I would imagine someone, maybe it's your role, or team role, measuring how well the process is being followed. So if the barn chairs are consistent, right, and reviewing things against that level, teachers consistent.
Yeah.
Because it's the inconsistency that usually, when there's an issue, that's where it can start.
Right, that's where we usually, get a wave of something, and like, oh, we have to get on that.
So reconsideration and definition, that is what? Just if someone has an issue with the context,
Yep,
consider an alternative.
right, it's
To that
saying,
textbook
they have to sort of
material.
say why, if they read the entire work, have they talked with the teacher, and what specifically is your concern for the resource? So it just asks for some additional information versus a blanket or a generalization of, I don't like it and why.
So how do they get there instead of going straight to the form?
Because if they went to the form online, it would have language that says, first, talk to your teacher.
Yeah, okay.
That's not too, well, it's similar but different to the building form, right? When someone's going to walk into the process before they fill out the form,
Right,
imagine something simple as this.
yeah,
Make it clear what the process is before you.
yeah.
Is there, I assume today you have the ability to capture this feedback that you might be getting from, we may be getting from students and parents? And
Especially been asking a lot this year,
Mhm.
and I've been getting a lot of shaking heads, being like, no one's come to complain, no one's said anything.
Well, maybe not complaints, but what about like suggestions or new materials or?
It's been quiet from what I've heard, Mary, what about at the high
It seems
school?
odd.
I've never had anybody talk to me about a resource that they did, that it never came to me. I haven't yet.
I've had a couple of folks come in and talk to Kevin about, I want to be an involved parent, I want to know what's in the health curriculum.
Sure.
And so we sat down, I think they've left saying, thank you so much for your time, and followed up with an email, and felt really reassured about being able to look at it, see it, understand what it means in real life.
And similar conversations when actually at the time we were doing our language arts presentations and talking about Western libraries, we had similar conversations. So most of the process allows us to get in, inform, share, talk, and resolve from there. And this would be, I think it's not resolved through the teacher or in this office. Here's a pathway for you.
I would have thought that if you were ever going to get any challenges, it would be in these past couple of years. Where
Well, there's a national movement going on right now to legislate.
well, it's just parents are becoming
Public
more aware
schools.
and becoming more sensitive to it, and whether you would think that this would be the time where they would be saying, I don't know, but
Well, listen, they have been, some have.
some have been.
But by and large, parents are engaged. I know parents that have been questioning at first all kinds of things. Like they've been gifted to a bunch of courses when they dive in. In the process of the system, it usually resolves pretty well. But things are evolving, so they could get louder as time goes on. They could get quieter. I suspect they'll probably get louder because there's so much misinformation out there, politically driven things, but I always tell folks what's actually happening in the actual school district. And if folks can actually see the resources, that usually solves 99.9% of the issues. So as long as there's a pathway for folks to escalate, and it's easy to find, so if we have to update the policy, we're not alone on for it, because if you have a hard time finding it, and it's not very clear, then others will never find it.
I would think that's what we would want to send to policy, that they incorporate this in the instruction, in the 600 series for instruction, and make that change.
So this one form that you gave us, labeled 6.1.2, this is from Berlin, was this, did all of these materials?
Yes, I think this is from Berlin.
Okay, so they already had theirs and, all right.
Not that students or parents are gonna read the student handbook, but with this policy up here in the student handbook, the 6,000 series,
We do, whenever there's a policy that supports a practice or protocol at the high school, we link in, usually a live link, the corresponding Board of Education policy.
so this would
So
be a
this would,
link at least in there.
yeah. And it could also be a link in our program of studies.
Okay.
Under resources, that would be a place, I think that would be the best place to put it. Because it guides how you understand the resources and just.
Being on the board of it, I get most, I'm never gonna read the entire student handbook every year, you sign it.
So there is,
But I know, I'm sure you're devastated.
there is a piece of information from the state that requires all of us to make sure that parents know about this at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And that can be done certainly as a link, but it can also be a reminder at open house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of things that we go over the, procedure for reporting bullying, and this could be one, I actually wrote it down today, I wrote it out, and I put it in my tickler file for July, to remind the principals to put it on their agenda for the open houses. So that would be another way of getting at that.
Yeah, because I think the easiest way to diffuse any situation, or just ensure that situation never arises to begin with, is to convey a sense of openness, like, we really are not trying to hide anything at all from you. There are procedures if you have a concern, and I know we say it all amongst ourselves. Given this day and age, I don't think it can be said enough, because I do think it tames a lot of angst out there.
I'm also hoping that as as we begin to loosen up and parents are in the schools more, that there won't be that feeling of this is happening there and I can't get in. We've not had visitors. So I think once we can open it up and American Education Week is back and people can come in for things and the doors are open physically, I'm hopeful that some of that builds back upon that sense of trust that.
I think so, and also as much as, it's a policy update for the instruction series, it also gives the current board or future board members something they can follow that's consistent. Because, the few folks that never refuse to take any factual answer, it's just a factual answer, will look for the area of consistent weakness. So they have one board member saying one thing, another board member saying another thing, that adds fuel to the fire. But if we have a level playing field, we all have a policy, procedure, then we can ensure that it's being followed. Periodically checking it time to time, you talk to the teacher, you talk to the administrator, we're all consistent. So it helps us to.
So should we put forth a motion to send this?
We could, I think we
Yeah.
drafted it.
So I have a couple ones depending on how this conversation went. So one that may be a possibility is just to make a motion to request that the policy committee consider adding reconsideration of instructional materials to the 6,000 policy series instruction and update the accompanying forms within that policy.
And so the policy committee would work on drafting something. Would we have the ability to review that
I
before?
would really take what you see here and we could send it to them as potential language.
And before the first reading, we'd get a chance just to double check and read things.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like it should come back to curriculum.
Yeah, at least before they say it's ready for a first reading, we should have input.
So I could,
Well, we could do this then. Maybe it doesn't leave us yet. Maybe we draft something, we bring it to you next month.
Because what they're gonna ask for is a
Send it
draft
to the policy.
to start working on.
Yeah, how does that sound, Kevin? Maybe we could put something together.
that's good, that goes better with the other draft motion that says we recommend this language to be added to, so if we want to.
Well, we recommend that the policy committee start working on.
Yeah, so we can go either, that's up to you, we can come back with a draft that could be considered a a first read or initial draft for them to.
I think they would appreciate that, because it
Yeah.
helps cut down their time tremendously.
Less of a lift, 'cause
And then that cuts down on it, going to them, coming
Right,
back to
yeah,
us.
yeah.
All right,
So
we'll
would
draft
we
something
have-
for next month.
Simply the general language, would we include any forms? Do we,
I'll include the forms.
okay,
I'll give you a sample from what we've looked at.
okay.
And then that would, you can mark it up and we can
Sounds
take a look at it and decide yea or nay, or, tweaks that you want to make, and then you can
Okay.
send it over to them.
That makes sense.
So, let's think for planning purposes, we'll get the proposal before the next meeting?
Before the April meeting.
Okay, and so we will then have a motion on the table.
Well, someone would have to make the motion, and we would entertain.
Or, I mean, but we would have we would plan on voting on this.
Not on the policy per se, but
On the
yes,
moving,
on the potential.
I'm
Yeah.
moving with this recommended language
Yeah.
to
Just like
policy.
planning
Drafted
moves
Yeah.
things to the full board,
Policy committee for
we'll
consideration.
recommend moving something for policy or something.
Right, I wanted to make sure we didn't want to have another, not informational, but one more discussion before we make a formal movement, but I'm ready. I
it
think
sounds like
we
we
gotta
could-
get moving
It sounds
on
like we
it.
could do that the next meeting, we'll get a draft ahead of time, review it, talk about it. See
Yeah,
anything
I
major.
mean, we could vote it down if we still have
That's-
problems.
Yeah, I can send it back
I
for,
mean,
It's
if
gonna
we
be in
bring you the
draft
draft,
format.
if you were to say, you recommend this language change, was changed in the form, you
Yeah.
could act on that in this,
Right.
the meeting, you said.
yeah, and
Draft.
I think with policy,
95%.
No, use the second of your
Right.
motion.
Yeah.
So hold on to that.
I will.
We just wanted to be prepared for all options.
yeah, we've all been on policy, so, they're gonna work through the legalese of
Yeah.
the wording, and we'll get that final draft back, right, that we can review before. they
You're
vote.
the Shakespeare policy writer.
Shakespeare.
Or of motion
There are,
writing.
there are a couple of legalese things in this that kind of refer to our obligations under, and it's actually no opposite, so we want to make sure it's correct and standard, so. Or in some of the policies that we're
Thank you for doing this legal.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, nothing else, go ahead and, do I have a motion?
That we adjourn?
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.